Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 23 of Walking with Jay. Tonight I have the good fortune to be walking with my good friend and compadre, James Hunt. How are you, James?
I'm doing just fine.
Very good. Well, today is Memorial Day weekend. Today is actually Memorial Day. It's I don't know what the date is. Do you know what today is?
Oh, today's the 29th.
Nice.
This weekend is the 29th.
So, James is my co-worker. We both work with Southwest Behavioral Health Center as peer support specialists. How long have you been a peer support specialist, James?
Oh, almost a year.
Has it been that long?
It'll be September, it'll be a year.
Nice.
So I guess about 4 months shy of a year.
Great. And what's your favorite thing about being a peer support specialist?
Oh, just the opportunity to work with other people. They're in need, have similar backgrounds in life, and done similar things. And I get a chance to listen to and help them as much as I can. I don't really help them. I think I help them by just listening to them and sharing my story with them.
Yeah, that's the biggest part of being a peer support specialist, is just sharing our recovery stories, huh?
Yeah.
So, do you remember when you first heard about becoming a peer support specialist?
It was about a year ago. A little over a year ago when I was as a client at Southwest Center. And I decided that something I'd be interested in doing. I was at that time, I was volunteering, doing quite a bit with recovery dialogues and things like that.
So what's it for everybody, so that they know
What is recovery dialogue?
Yeah.
Recovery dialogue is a set of dialogues to help a person with the recovery, just talking about certain aspects of hope and charity and love. And not those words especially, but that's what it boils down to.
Hope and charity and love.
That's how I think it boils down to.
Whoa, how about that? We got a little bit of rain on
No, I
us.
don't mind that at all.
Little sprinkler. All right. Well, cool.
The Memorial Day reminds me of one thing my dad used to do on the Memorial Day. We used to get out and go for day outings. He would tell us wartime stories when he was in World War II.
What branch of the service was he?
He was in the Navy.
Oh, cool.
And he didn't really fight too much because it was at the very end of the war.
Right.
They did help with a couple invasions. The island of Borneo. Yeah. But he said that they had a really bad typhoon after the war was over with. It was like God was answering back the damage we did to Japan.
Oh, really?
And
that's how he felt about it?
That's how he felt about it. Well, it was kind of like it was a major conflict with nature and the people. Hundreds of ships were lost. Hundreds of ships were shipwrecked on Okinawa. He was shipwrecked on Okinawa.
Wow.
He tells how scary it was to be in the typhoon, and it was kind of a scary ordeal. He told us all about how his little flat belt bed, I don't know what kind of boat it was.
Yeah.
PC. Anyways, this flatbed ones that had rocket launchers in the bottom of it.
Right.
And he said the rockets they didn't use kind of helped keep the boat from going all the way over, capsizing. But he said that he was outside of the ship, and the boat was tipping almost all the way over.
Wow.
And he was being towed by another ship. Anyway, it was pretty scary. So.
That is scary. So when you were growing up, did your dad talk about this stuff frequently, or was it just on Memorial Day?
Just on Memorial Day, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
He didn't talk about it all the time. He was just asking what he did in the war. And of course, he had a cousin that died in the invasion of D-Day. And so he didn't really tell us too much about that, because I don't know how much he knew about what happened at that time.
Right.
I had an uncle that was fighting in France after D-Day,
Uh-huh.
and he got shot twice. But he lived both times. He lived through the whole experience, and he was shot in his leg about the same place both times. And after the second time he got shot, he was out of the service, of course. But so that's about all the military we have in our family.
So when you were growing up, you didn't feel like a call to join the military?
Oh, not so much. My family was kind of called to do it at wartime,
Uh-huh.
and had there been a major war on, I would have participated.
Right.
I did try to get into the National Guard later, when I was about 30,
Uh-huh.
but it didn't work out very good. By that time I was on prescriptions, and they didn't want to take anybody on prescriptions.
What kind of prescriptions were you on?
Mental health prescriptions.
And so when did you first start noticing symptoms of mental illness?
Well, my first major break was when I was in the mission field up in Canada on my mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Right.
And it was really weird. People around me knew that I was going through some kind of problem,
Uh-huh.
but they didn't do much about it. And I couldn't tell what was going on.
Back in what year was that?
79.
We've come probably a long ways since then as far as diagnosing things and
Yeah, we've come a long ways about how to get really help to the right people.
yeah.
They thought that I was having a certain problem with, a religious problem.
Uh-huh.
In reality, I was having a mental problem
Right.
that kicks into the religious problem, not the religious problem kicking into the mental problem.
I see what you're saying. So yeah, that's interesting because a lot of my when I get sick, a lot of it has to do with spiritual type delusions, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And so I wonder how common that is amongst people with bipolar disorder, that it's religiously based. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of religious based on this. If you want me, as a missionary,
Oh yeah.
it's all you do is
You were surrounded by
religious.
it. I mean, that's what you were doing, right? You all right? Do we need to slow down?
just a hair so I
All
can
right.
talk. I don't be too winded. I can talk. I can walk fast.
We're doing good, yeah. I'm just trying to keep you in screen, so I was trying to stay ahead of you, and then you're trying to keep up with me.
Oh, I see. I'm so used to walking competitively.
Ah! A little the old James Hunt competitive nature coming out, huh?
But my first mental breakdown, I realized I was really in trouble the day they were trying to get me to the hospital. And then my mission president decided, well, maybe this is more of a spiritual thing than a physical thing after all.
Uh-huh.
So he took me to his office instead of the hospital. And I couldn't get over how I was struggling to keep myself sane to get to the hospital.
Right.
And I was just totally blown away when he said, I said, how come we're not going to the hospital? I know it's not this way. He said,
Right.
the mission president wants to talk to you.
Uh-huh.
And I was about ready to say, bullshit. Oh, sorry
Oops.
for using that word. Bull crud. That's how I felt. Even as a missionary, I still felt that way.
Yeah.
And so we took me to the mission home, and then I really had a bad problem. Then I completely
So things
lost
went
everything
from bad to worst.
to extremely worse.
Yeah.
And that's why I swore.
Yeah.
I was a little upset about that. I don't care who he thought he was. He wasn't.
I guess I could try to edit that out, but I don't know if I'm that gifted at editing on this thing yet.
I shouldn't have said that.
That's all right. We'll edit it out.
I said that in full tense. I knew that I was saying that.
It's all good.
He should have not me about to swear.
Don't worry about it. Nobody watches this show anyway.
Anyway, so well, I got me on a roll here.
Okay, you're doing good. Let's
So-
go back to you went from bad to worse, you were saying.
Went from bad to worse because I thought for sure I was in to control myself as much as possible, and it took
At
so
the time,
much.
at the time when you were going through it, you felt like you were in control, or felt like you were out of control?
I knew that I was seriously out of control,
Right.
but I knew that I was trying to maintain control over myself as much as possible. And I knew that talking to my mission president was not what I needed.
Okay.
I needed a shot of something to keep me sane.
Were you aware of medications at the time?
I knew there must have been something.
Right.
There had to be something to give me. I was just thinking, I was hang on until I get to the hospital
Right.
and get a shot or something happened. But they were just a little bit naive back then, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably true back in the 70s.
They didn't. I was in Canada, which is more progressive than
Right.
America at the time, because they had been dealing with mentally ill people in Europe for a lot longer than we've been trying to deal with it here
Yeah.
in the United States. And I was in Canada, and so I was under pretty good medication. But they stuck me on lithium and Haldol, which
Back then.
back then, the combination was enough to keep me under control.
Nice.
But had I got it before I lost everything completely,
Yeah.
my recovery would have been a lot faster.
Okay.
And that's why I was a little TO'd about
Yeah.
my mission president trying to run my life like that. But I was under his supervision, and I guess he thought he could just talk to me.
Yeah, because sometimes I think, I'm not sure, but I think that sometimes kids get away from home. They might be homesick. You know what I mean? And they're probably used to that type of level of intervention.
Yeah.
But for you, it was more serious than that, it seems like.
Well, I just about died. In fact, I did die. Had an out-of-body experience while I was at the mission home, which I won't talk about, but I'll just let you know that that's how serious it was for me,
Yeah.
that I actually passed away, and that I was able to come back. And the good thing was, it only took me about a year to get completely over that episode.
Yeah.
I was back finishing my mission.
You felt like you were back to normal after that.
Yeah, I was, not only did I get off of medications that I was on, but I went through a trial period before going back into the mission field to see if I could cope with the stress of being a missionary after so soon a recovery
Yeah.
from a major episode. Anyway,
You're doing a good job, man. So that's when you first experienced it, right? That's when you first experienced the effect of mental illness.
Yeah.
Fast forward to now. How do you feel? What's the difference between now and then? If you could compare yourself today to how you were when you were first experiencing that, what's different in your life?
As soon as I go to the hospital to give me a shot, puts me out and I sleep for a long time. And although you have to be careful what kind of shot they give you now, because they almost killed me with that shot too, because they forgot to read the thing about me being allergic to Haldol. And the shot contained Haldol. And my wife was in the room with me, and the nurse says, well, we're going to give you a shot of Haldol and some other stuff. And I was so out of it, I couldn't say anything.
Right.
My wife stuck up for me and says, no, you don't. Not Haldol. He's allergic to Haldol.
So she advocated for you?
Yeah, she hadn't been there. I might have had a really, really bad episode again.
Yeah.
Because when you're allergic to medication, it does some really bad things to you.
Right.
If you have a large dose of it.
Right.
And so they changed it. And I slept for over, probably about 14 hours straight through. Woke up and was feeling a lot better.
Yeah.
And then they put me in BMed. This is my last, about my last episode.
Well, let me ask you, when you hear the word recovery, what do you think of?
I think about getting myself back to where I can go back to work and deal with my life. I don't think that I'm never going to completely be recovered of bipolarness that I can stop taking meds
In other words, healed or
or healed or completely zapped all the way gone from it.
right.
Maybe someday in the future.
Who knows? Technology, you never know what they're going to come up with.
But I feel like I'm pretty much recovered now from my last episode.
Yeah.
I'm back to work. I see a therapist only once in a great while,
Yeah.
and I see my psychiatrist, and we work out a medication plan for us.
Yeah.
And it works out really well. I'm able to talk about my meds like I know a little bit about it now.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. Well, so when I asked you about recovery, you one of your focus was one of your focuses was on employment and how important.
it is to be back to work.
Yeah. How important is that to you?
Yeah, really, really important.
I think it's so important that you're working 2 jobs now. That's pretty. That's pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, I started working for Elevate, and I wasn't working for Walmart because I was suspended, having to do with some problems that I had
Dealing with your last episode.
did my last episode, and they had to be cleared from the court before going back to work there. And I started working for Elevate and fell in love with the job, so that when I was cleared to go back to work, I needed more income because
Yeah.
I was only working part-time at Elevate.
Right.
So I went back to work at Walmart,
Skycam.
and I was only going to work there part-time. Well, it finally got to me.
That's okay. I'm just trying some different angles here.
Okay. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that anyway, it came down to it that I had to go full-time at Walmart to be happy there.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got to be full-time and part-time.
Do you worry about that being too much stress for you?
So far, it's pretty good. I've learned how to manage it really well. Because I'm back in electronics, and I was out of that for a while. And now I'm back into it. And we have a really good team. We all work together and pull our weight. In fact, sometimes I kind of like a little man on the totem pole because they pull more weight than I do.
Right.
Sometimes, but I guess they forgive me because I'm a little older.
Well, you're one of the hardest working guys I know, just from the sheer amount of hours that you put in. You come to work for us at, 8 in the morning?
Yeah.
Till noon. And then you go, get a couple hours off, and then you work till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty impressive. I don't know that I would be able to sustain that type of, I don't want to try to put you down or anything like that, or put any doubt in your head, but I don't know if I could do that, honestly.
Well, we used to keep those kind of hours when I was growing up on the farm.
There you go.
I would have to get up early, do chores, go to work, go to school, which is like work.
Yeah.
Then play football, come home, and if the chores weren't finished, I'd have to finish them up before going to bed.
Cool. Well, let me talk to something about a little separate from mental illness. What does it take to be a winner?
Just have to never give up. Always try with all your heart to whatever your conviction is that you're trying to do, and just never give up. There was a time that they think that I gave up a little too soon in football, but I know that was the right thing to do
At the time.
to
Yeah.
give up a little bit of football to save my life for a long time.
There you go.
So I didn't really give up. I just had a bigger picture, and then in that bigger picture, I've never given up on it.
So we do, we're co-facilitators of the RAP group, Wellness Recovery Action Plan. What are some of the things that you have in your wellness toolbox?
Oh, I have a lot of personal things. I'm very religious, and so my top of my list is like prayer, read scriptures, go to temple, go to, for LDS people, they know what these things mean
Right.
to us. Those are the top of my list. And then towards the next part of my list, I have things that I like to do that I enjoy doing when I'm not necessarily working, or that get me through when I'm in, like, sword carving.
Yeah, wood carving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
enjoy that, and drawing pictures and coloring pictures that I draw. And those are some things that I have in that part. And then just the daily things that I do. Eat good breakfast,
Walking.
walking. I do a lot of walking at work,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit different. It's stop going walking.
Right, exactly. Well, James, thank you so much for walking with me tonight and being on the show. I'm going to do my best to edit out that one part that you're uncomfortable with, and that's cool. But just want to know that I expect you there by 8 o'clock in the morning. No, I'm just kidding. Of course you're going to be there.
Of course I'm going to be
Of
there.
course. All right, did you have fun?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I talked about myself. I like to talk about myself.
Yeah, it's fun, huh? That's why I do Walking with Jay by myself sometimes. I get to talk about myself. Nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
Sometimes I get worried that I'm too much of a narcissist.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. See, this guy's like, oh, don't worry about that. You are, Jeremy.
No, you're not.
All right. Anyway, good talking to you guys. Thanks for joining us on the show. We love you, and just have a great night. Take care. Bye.